Zone 1 to Zone 2. Let's move.
Yeah. Hey, man, how's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. Just kind of getting
Yeah.
caught up for this morning. I still got relatives and friends calling me, wishing me happy birthday and stuff like that. Day late, but that's
Uh,
cool. Yeah.
that's cool. At least they remembered. That's all right. Uh, it's that's how did you guys get into the Chinese restaurant yesterday that you
Yeah,
wanted to go to?
yeah, it was great. They had
Cool, man.
we had split two entrees. We had their well, they have this pork fried rice. It's like amazing. And then
Hmm.
they had it was called Yum Yum. No, Num Num Beef. It was
Hmm.
like beef with vegetables, but they made it with filet mignon, and
Hmm.
it was really really good.
Oh, nice. I love Chinese food in the States.
Yeah,
It's better than the Chinese food in China, which is kind of funny, but it really is. It's like Italian food. Italian food's better in the States than it is in Italy.
yeah. Because I mean, I guess with us being like a melting pot of culture, you could say that it leaves room for being able to impress. So
Yeah.
it's just like the old Akio Toyota guy. He's like, the only reason we haven't destroyed GM and the big three in the market is because we need that competition to be able to keep our quality as high as it is.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you think about all the different cultural foods and stuff, and man, food brings any culture together. I don't care who you are, but
Yeah. Well, absolutely, man.
it's not
That's
necessarily
which.
a peeing match between different cultures to produce different food. It's just that there's a lot more care in preparation and a lot more emphasis on being able to impress. So
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. So we see. I just wanted to check what was moving in the Dow. The Dow is moving. You can see that the Russell is underneath the channel, as is NQ and the ES. Well, the Dow's up above and pushing. It looks like it's Procter and Gamble and the healthcare stocks, are in Dow, which are doing better than everything else. So if I'm looking at this, I would see that this is coming up on the back into the channel here. So what I want to see is I want to see the ES reject off the bottom of this channel from earlier, and then I wouldn't necessarily trade that one. I'd trade the Dow here to for this to roll over because it gives me more of a safety because these ones can bounce uh, because I've already retraced quite a bit of the earlier move from a few days ago. Uh, I don't unfortunately have up the lines from those days. But yeah, this would be more of a short opportunity on the Dow for me right now.
and
What do you think, Jeremy?
I think I agree. It's going right to that next liquidity zone, which is right at 406.
Yeah, let me see. We get a little short. What is that? It's a good little
And just a,
yeah,
a note to kind of
14 pointer.
be a litmus for the healthcare stocks. Johnson and Johnson, if you look at the weekly chart, I mean it straight gapped right up to a 50% retracement in one bar. Um,
Yeah,
Now it's hit that 50% retracement. It pushed through it this morning, and now it's coming back down to accumulate. So it could go and reject that 50% retracement line and start to be bearish.
yeah. I don't understand. So the only news they had was on they had a $9 billion settlement,
Yeah.
which is like okay, they have to pay $9 billion. I suppose that's a drop in the bucket for them in some kind of way.
Oh
But
yeah.
uh, I mean, still, it's kind of insane. Uh, let's look at this JNG. Let's put this on a candlestick. Let's kill the comparison. Um, yeah, look at that.
That's
That's pretty nuts, though.
Yeah, it's parabolic. I mean, it's just straight vertical. And if you look at it on a daily chart, it's just a straight up gap.
Hmm.
Insane.
And the daily.
On a daily there.
Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, that was crazy, right? I mean, like, what the hell was
It's
that?
insane.
Yeah, and look at it carried the entire Dow yesterday.
Yep.
That
That's
which is just nuts.
that's why the Dow was cranking out like it was yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it was up 4% at the open,
Yeah.
which was pretty for something in the Dow, 4% in a day is a serious run.
So our open on SPY here wicked exactly to that liquidity zone that we talked about yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look at that. I actually have that one up. That's one of the ones I actually had there. So, and looks like shorting the Dow there instead of going short any of these other ones, which had already retraced a lot,
Right.
was a good move. I mean, that would have been a good move to go long, actually.
Oh yeah.
But considering everything else was so down, you don't know what's going to happen. So it looked like it was a lot easier to short the Dow than anything else.
Well, we've got volatility happening, and we're at a point where we've broken over a peak. So like you look at the high and low on the daily chart for most things, we're kind of overbought on a lot of things. So it's like
Yeah.
either we're going to get a
Let's-
pullback or we're going to get a reversal.
I didn't have a chance to listen to Sig's thing this morning because I was doing some other stuff. But what did he? Did anybody watch Sig's thing this morning?
I did, yeah.
What was the thesis for the day?
Ooh. You're asking me to break it down.
Sure, break it down.
No, I don't. I couldn't really say. I mean, he generally said that there's a few areas of liquidity and stuff. I think he said that we're going to sort of like, if we go to that range, then we might, the top of the range, then we might go a little bit higher, but not much. He expects it to come back down. But again,
Yeah.
like I say, please don't take my word for it. And we're talking about the ES, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he thinks that obviously it's going to go, it's probably going to hit the top, but he doesn't think it's going to go much further. If it does, then I think he said up to 41. Oh, I can't remember the exact figure. It was on in the
That's all right.
It was on in the background while I was doing work. So sorry, I didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
No worries.
No, it's okay.
That's good enough. So he's
That was
generally saying we could go higher if we accumulate here and break
Yeah.
out. But there is
So
also
it's basically this. If this turns into a flag,
right.
and then
Exactly.
this liquidity zone, based on this candlestick here, is the retracement. But that must have a fib. Let's see what the fib is on that. Let's see if I can get it to work with this one. Auto fib extension. That would be the one. That's not going to work.
It was so easy to just go and slap boxes on those two inverted hammers on SPY for the daily chart. I mean,
The inverted hammers you got. Let's see where you got the inverted hammers. Wait a second.
He was talking about a doji setup for over the weekend as well, for a potential reversal for next week.
right. That's the other thing we're looking at on the daily chart. If we set up a doji here, and today, tomorrow's a market holiday, so it's closed tomorrow. So if we close a doji today, there's a good chance this could have been our pullback, and then we end up bullish next week. That's a good argument.
And this basically turns into a flag.
Right.
How would you count? If you counted this as a flag, would you take the bottom of the base here, or would you take?
Well, where's the biggest bar?
The biggest bar is this one.
Well, at the base, yes. So that's a rising channel.
This one.
And if you look at it like you would a measured move, you got a trend, accumulation, and a trend.
Yeah.
A
Then we take it from.
third leg would put the daily candle, daily control bar as being on the 23rd. Or sorry, on the 31st. Sorry. So if you flag it out from there, that's your support and your resistance for a flag. So if we close the doji today, that's very likely what we'll end up with next week.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh man, my drawing tools are a little bit nuts now. I don't know why. Let's do a box on this just to see. I'm gonna box this one off. I'm gonna take the bodies of the candles instead of
Right.
the wicks. Let's change the color on that to get an outline or something. Style. Border. Let's use whatever. Okay. Then we can box this thing off. We can just copy that.
Does Sweden
Clone.
extradite? I'm kidding. I was reading Bud's comment there.
What was the comment?
He's like,
I didn't see it.
"Hey, stop talking. With all due respect, I've arrested plenty of guys who didn't know."
No.
Oh,
I
man.
didn't. No, but I wasn't. I didn't. I actually
Yeah.
spoke to a lawyer. I didn't break any rules.
No.
Because I wasn't. I wasn't.
You weren't actively
I didn't do anything.
participating in their garbage, yeah.
Oh, and it wasn't even that. I was actually trading the way that I was saying I was trading. So if I was saying something was good, I was trading long, and if I was saying something was bad, I was trading short. So I wasn't trying to. I wasn't manipulating anything.
Nah,
I was doing what I was saying I was doing.
no paint must dry. I've actually, just as an experiment, messed with something like that before in after hours trading. Just
Mm-hmm.
I went and I bought some shares in one account, and then I went and sold one to my other account. I had a bid on my other account, and then I sold it to
Mm-hmm.
my bid from one account to the other in after hours trading on a stock that was just like it was trading at like 20 cents or something like that, and it had like
Mm-hmm.
stupid low volume. It was like about 1,000 shares a day were being traded on this thing, and there was never any after hours activity on it. So I'm like, I wonder, just to see if it
Mm-hmm.
worked. I went and I sold myself, or I sold one to the other account a little lower than where the low of the day was, just to see if it
Mm-hmm.
would work. That one
Oh,
share transaction actually triggered people to sell stops. I was blown away. I was
yeah.
like, "What the hell?" And all of a sudden, there's like
Ah.
300 shares traded out of nowhere. Just it tanked it down to like 14, 13 cents or something like that. And then all of a sudden,
Oh,
a
wow.
bunch of buy orders took off and took it right back to the median value. I'm like, "Whoa, did that just paint the tape with one share?"
That's funny. Yeah. That's funny, man. So you triggered stop. I mean, that's what it is. You triggered the stop losses.
I couldn't
So
believe
they
it.
had people
One
had.
share though.
Yeah.
How the hell?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's funny, man. I mean, that's how much. I mean, people always say, what does it take to? How many shares need to trade for like the S&P to move 100 points? You know what I
Right.
mean? And actually, in the end, it's one share.
Yeah.
That's all you got to trade. It's if you can. If you can get the algo to do it.
Once the first lemming leaves the surface.
Yeah, yeah. So this is, I'm not sure. To be honest, I don't really have a really good disposition for like, I'm not. This seems like it's going to be quite a sideways day today, and like going with the thing that you're actually saying with it being that we might end up with a doji on the day.
We could.
So I'm expecting it to be chop chop.
Yeah.
Now we're back up to this channel set in the pre-market on the ES, Dow, and NQ. We see that the Dow continuing to show strength. The thing with the Dow you got to remember also though is that it's weighted kind of weird in comparison to everything else. It's not weighted by market cap size. It's weighted by share price instead, which is super weird. So the Dow getting some weird readouts is kind of a little bit to be expected also. But you can see this might be a good moment if Dow broke back into the channel. If we could get at least two, if the RT was to appear back into the channel, it might be a good signal to go long on the ES or the NQ. Right now, it's not. There's nothing saying to actually do that. All we have is a rejection off the bottom of the channel again, rejection off the bottom of the channel again. So now everything looks short, but with the Dow continuing to show some strength, I don't have any like high conviction in anything. So I wouldn't. So I'm not going to. I'm not looking at anything particularly for a trade opportunity at the moment. I want something to play out, either for Dow to break out of this channel again, which would mean I could go short something. Depending on where everything else is at that moment, or that's pretty much what I'm thinking.
Sounds like a good thesis to me. Let me see here.
Jeremy, wait, I just want to go get a glass of water, man. So I'm going to be 30 seconds. Okay?
Oh, no worries. I might go grab myself another cup of coffee in a minute.
All right, back. What do we got?
We're just tapping into the top of that liquidity zone all of a sudden.
on
That's
on
right.
the ES.
Yeah. And that daily chart, the reason I would like to see a doji there is because it happens to be right on the 8 period daily moving average. And it's also right between those two liquidity zones we mapped out, where we had the wick on top of the doji from March 6th and the wick on
Mhm.
top of the doji from February 16th were our liquidity zones. And we're currently trading between those two liquidity zones, but we just tapped into the lower liquidity zone. So might see this kind of take a turn here.
Yeah, here we have, so the Dow is getting out of that channel, or it's playing around with the bottom of it. So still a no trade, a kind of opportunity for me, but there's not anything decisive. I hope this isn't like, I doubt this could be the whole day, but you know,
Yeah.
if it just chopped around in this area all day, that would kind of be mind numbing. These are the kind of days I don't particularly love.
Yeah, just kind of slow going.
Yeah.
Got about 50 seconds left on the 5-minute candle here, and this will give us a quick indication on whether or not we're going to continue into that liquidity zone or bounce off of it and start trending back up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look at this, but Nasdaq putting in almost a new low here.
Yeah, I think we're going to.
I'm not gonna bet on this, but it looks more bearish to me than anything else. But it can switch fast. Let's go down to a lower time frame to see what it's doing on that. 15 seconds maybe. Yeah. That's why I didn't want to trade that short.
Bounce real
We
quick
actually
with the
get-
hammer. And there, just closed a hammer there.
On which time frame are you on?
5-minute.
5 second. 5 minute. Oh yeah.
So if we do get a pop on this trend, it'll run back to like 406.25 real quick,
Yeah.
where it will just about meet the 8 period on the 5-minute chart.
Let's put up the 8 period. I have. No, I don't. Okay.
Damn, that was awesome. 406.21. Keep going. One more reach.
I hate the fact that TradingView doesn't actually label moving average exponential. They don't actually label their exponential moving average the right way. They switch exponentials to the end of the sentence for some stupid reason.
I found it's just, for me, and it's different for everybody, but I just use a simple moving average. I never use any of the complex.
Oh, you don't use the exponential?
No, never.
Oh, let's change it to simple then. We can do that. So 9. What would that be in the daily? If it's a daily 9, that's going to be on the 5 minute. 20 times 24, 480. 480. 5 minute periods. Wait a second. 480 times 9.
It's like 82 bars, isn't it, for the trading day?
Yeah, but it's going to be, if you're using it, because you're using it on the, oh yeah, of course, man. Oh, 82 bars, but it's, you know, in the simple moving average, isn't the pre-market and the after hours included also?
It is.
So what does that end up being? Oh, this is just stupid math, man. Let's just do it on the, let's just use the 9.
The easiest way to see all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be blown away by how simple this is. So instead of having two different charts, one with and one without pre-market and after-hours trading,
Mm-hmm.
just throw SPX on the grid. It doesn't trade after hours.
Oh, you know what happens to me though is it, if I do that, it'll if I'm syncing up the time frames, it'll force everything else into the same time frame as SPX. So I won't get the
Oh, right.
pre-market on everything else.
That is kind of weird.
It's stupid. It doesn't happen if I'm not syncing the time frame, but I like syncing the time frame so I can do this like scrolling things between them, you know?
Right.
So I know that everything's in the same. You know, I can't sync the mouse either, or the crosshair, the same way otherwise. Man, this is really just. We're just gonna stay in that channel,
Yeah, I think we are.
playing around the channel.
For the moment.
Well, I have the one on the NQ has some kind of at around 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, when all this comes together somehow. You had a name for this. If you do like a wedge, and then when the wedge, when the lines meet, you called that something. I can't remember what you called it.
Convergence?
No. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. All right. So some weakness in the Dow, which is kind of like what we wanted to see because it was holding everything else up. So I would switch down to a lower time frame here because I'm not seeing what I want to see. NQ coming up to the bottom of the channel again. The ES came up to the liquidity zone, tagged the top of it, fell out of it again. Dow being weak, Russell also came up to that bottom of the channel and failed. I'd still wait. I'm not particularly liking this right now,
Yeah, it's a little.
but
Yeah.
it's a little choppy. But it's definitely like a bearish. I'd be more looking for a short right now than I'd be looking for anything else, but I don't like it anyway. And I'd probably look to short whatever was closest to the last rejection, which is the NQ. But not looking great for anything. So basically, that's what I do all the time. Is that like I'm looking at all four, and whatever my inclination is, if it's okay, I want to take a bearish trade now. Where do I risk the least? Like where can I buy something bearish where I can have the least amount of risk in my trade?
Right.
So right here we had this could be my stop loss basically. Bottom of this channel. If I break back up to it, I lost my conviction. So at the moment when I was saying we were bearish, that was the NQ was the thing that was closest to it. So it's closest to my risk thing. So I'd go short that one. But like I said, I don't have any great conviction at the moment, so I'm not taking it. I like this thing of trading 4 assets at the same time, though.
Yeah.
I guess it's like a spread trading, but it's like where you're not buying the other leg of it. You're just using it to minimize your risk.
Right. You can kind of use one to hedge the other.
Yeah.
Come on, fill my order.
Which one are you taking now? You going short something or?
I'm looking at SPY getting into that liquidity zone, and I think we're going to at least hit 404.80 here.
Yeah. 404.50 the difference. Yeah. So,
Damn.
as always happens, that would have been what is that right now?
Just won't fill my
11
order.
point move.
Yeah. I'm just looking to walk a spread into a butterfly is all.
Yeah.
There we go. Order filled.
Oh yeah. Are you in trade of it again?
No.
No. Okay. What's it?
I mean, maybe one day if they sort their issues out, cool, I'll start using it again. I'm just.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm perturbed, man.
Yeah. So that looks like it. I mean, it played out the way that we wanted it to. That would have been me exiting this for the base of this, getting into this zone down here. Not because I exit things too early, also, but I wouldn't have wanted to hang around for continuation because it could just as well. And Russell showing some strength, so I would have looked for an exit around that candle, which would have been a woulda, shoulda, coulda, but yeah.
Right.
What is that? 12-point move or whatever.
Yeah, what they call the quick turn.
Yeah.
There's a little double bottom action here, and that's what I'm looking at. Now we've dipped into that liquidity zone, but we've got range all the way up to 407.30 if we go back the other way.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do is walk into a condor first, and then I can convert legs into a series of butterflies later.
Yeah. You see this? What I mean with this always in trade, though. Look, if I had flipped that, I wouldn't have. But if instead of that would have been a natural exit. We're getting to the base of this. I'm not going to trust it to continue because we have strength in the Russell, right?
Right.
So if I had flipped it instead of just exiting a trade like that, it would have been a lot smarter move. I need to get better at that. I just can't. I can't manage to. Every time I get out of a trade, I get I have like a sigh of relief. I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Right. Money's off the
But,
table. We can move to the next thing.
Yeah, exactly. But it's, I think I need to get better with dealing with that. I need to do some meditation exercises.
Robinhood did an update and they changed all the aesthetics of their app, and it's ugly.
Mhm.
I hate it.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Can't you just? Oh no, that's not one of the things you can do. Like, you can't rewind it to the older version, right?
no, yeah, you can't do it. Kind of sucks.
I hate when they force you to update.
Yeah. There we go. I am condored on SPY on this mess. Now I just wait one side or the other. I'll walk it into a butterfly, and then I'll walk the other side into a butterfly if it goes the other way.
Yep.
It's a bit early to do that because I know I'm going to eat some with implied volatility crush, but I've got expiration out to the 13th, so.
Can you give me a short? Give me a. I don't really understand the implied volatility crush. Could you give me the short description?
So, you have your power hour. In the case of the morning power hour, it's actually an hour and a half. So you run,
Mhm.
to about 11 o'clock. Implied volatility remains high when there is actual volatility. So your opening range is almost always volatile somehow. So you'll have
Mhm.
your options premium will be tweaked a little bit to the high side in that first
Mhm.
hour and a half of market opening, and in that hour before market closing. So
Yep.
when implied volatility is high like that, you can think of it as this way: all your options that you entered the previous day with a relatively low volatility, if you entered in the middle of the day when things were kind of flat, be worth more in the first hour and a half, even sometimes when you're on the wrong side of the trade. So implied volatility will inflate the value or inflate the premium value of those options in those two times of the market. And then in the middle of the market, things will kind of fade. So once volatility falls off, then the implied volatility on the options that you're trading, the value will drop out of them quite significantly.
So basically, it's like things are more expensive when there's a high implied volatility, and you have a higher implied volatility at the open, and so things are more expensive in the open and during power hour, basically.
Yep.
Okay.
So the other thing that can help you with that, though, is if you're trading single options contracts, that implied volatility will have a dramatic effect on those options. But if you're trading spreads, you got to remember you've got one short leg working with you for time decay and implied volatility fade. At the same time, you have one leg working against you. So they kind of not fully balance each other, but they closely balance each other.
Yep. I think I get it. I think I got it.
So it's
I'm not 100%
it's
positive.
okay to go in and enter a condor or a series of spreads on both sides of price in the
Yeah.
power hour, or when implied volatility is a little higher. It
Yep.
won't have nearly as much effect on your position as it would if you were just trading straight contracts.
Yep. This is a good short opportunity on the NQ potentially. We have some weakness in Russell pulling off. There was a quick flash of red on the ES, and you can see the Dow hit the top of the channel. It's a risky trade though, but it was and you have the 200. I think that's a 200 that I have up there. We had the NQ coming up on that. Oh,
Made an attempt on the opening
Yeah.
high and failed.
oh, it was the opening. Oh, and also the opening high.
Yeah.
Perfect. And that's it. That's actually that's a standard trade that I need to put up I need to put those up also. But the fail, come up to the opening high, and then continue the downward trend when it doesn't manage to break through is a pretty standard trade. Let's put
Wow.
up the opening high there. Yep. And then I'm a chicken, so I would have probably gotten out now just for the sake of it. But I do that too much, so don't take don't take my advice on my exits. Always, I do them way too fast.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. But this would the reason I would have gotten out is because it could just as well turn into a flag and then rip through this again, and I would have been happy with my little what would that have been? 15-point win basically.
Yeah.
And you never know how this plays out. It can give you another opportunity to short this, especially if it comes back up to that high and fails again. Then it's going to be a high conviction trade to the downside, as long as we have confirmation from other places. But I think I actually have a feeling this is going to go through now. Came up,
Goes.
tested.
Testing that high again.
Yeah.
Just setting up my limit orders to convert into condors.
Yeah. There it goes. It broke the high. We don't have. So on the other three, you can see. Let's just check out how it's playing out. Here's the. Let's see, 930. There's the high on the ES. So we're through on NASDAQ. So NASDAQ being a lot stronger than everything else is normal. So everything is right with the world. But until the other ones also confirm that breakout, I'd be thinking about shorting NASDAQ. But I wouldn't take this trade until I saw what I want to do. I'd want to short the NASDAQ when I saw a test. Dow's still being weak, right in this channel still. Russell's breaking out of it, but we're waiting for it to get to this line, because that would be the test of breaking out of the open. And we have the ES on the line now, so it would be shorting, yeah. We have the ES potentially failing that right now, so that would have been the trade. Let's see what it does, though.
This is kind of looking like a range day, more or less. But if it does break range, you always know that all ranges will eventually break out.
Yeah.
It can start off as a range day and then end up being a trend day. So, like, sometimes if you're waiting to take the opposite side of the trend, or to trade the opposite side of the trend, if you're not paying attention to that range breaking, you could sit around all day trying to make your short on a bull trend and not realize what you just saw. You know?
Yeah, completely, man. And that's happened to me. That's actually happened to me quite a few times, man. Which is something that I try to be, like, aware of. I've missed quite a few trend days because of that. Trend days actually are another one of those things that I need to train more on. You know.
Right. It's just
I think a lot of.
It can
No, go
it
ahead.
can be as simple as looking left on your chart, figuring out where the
Yep.
accumulation zones are likely to be,
Yep.
and then when you look at an accumulation zone of any kind, always know it's just a range, and that range consolidated until it broke out, and it always breaks out.
Yep.
So knowing which side of that previous consolidation you're currently looking at a mirror image of now will give you a really good clue on to whether you can expect this to turn into a trend day or not as soon as it breaks that
Yep.
previous range.
And let's just map that out. So let's take the range from you're taking the range from the daily or from the
It can be
4 hour or something. Or
it can be any time frame. In this case, it's probably looking like
let's use the 4 hour. So just for the sake of it, and we want to call the previous 4 hour the range, basically, or
well,
we want to call liquidity zone.
there's one thing to know. Well, two things to know. So first, start with the daily chart. Figure out where your liquidity zones are, and then
Let's go to
note that we're between two liquidity zones.
yeah. Here's one up here, and here's one here,
Right. So
and we're looking like a hammer right now.
right. So if you look left, where was the previous range consolidation within that zone? It was all the way back on the 31st. You'll see a range up at the higher end of that zone.
31st. Wait a second. Oh, you mean they go the other way? Okay.
So if you
Here.
go from a daily chart, once you've established your liquidity zones, look at a 15-minute chart. Sorry about that. I should say go back to
Okay.
a 15-minute chart. And if you look on the 31st, you'll see a consolidation in the high end of the range between the two liquidity zones.
Mm-hmm.
And then
High end of the range.
right, and then look at yesterday,
yep.
we consolidated in the lower range
Same
of the
place.
liquidity zone.
Yep.
So now we've got two ranges we can split. So if we go above 406.80, for instance, we'll be in the upper range, and if we consolidate there and break, we can get a trend day and run to 408.90.
Yeah.
If it fails to break that and consolidates in the lower end of the range, it can likely go and end up in the lower liquidity zone and have a shot at 404.80. So not a big
Lower liquidity
range,
zone.
but one way or
Yep.
another, it can set up for a trend day if it breaks out of either side of that.
Yep. That's a good way of identifying the trend line.
It just gives you a
That's what I
really,
should-
really specific and simple technical analysis view of when to expect a trend day. You know, like the other day, when I found that we were in the liquidity zone on the break, let's see, that was on the 4th. Once we broke into the top of that range with conviction, I was able to trade that range from top to bottom perfectly in that
Yep.
liquidity zone, A to B. And all I had to do to identify that was look left and figure out where was my previous consolidation, where would it be likely to break. Well, in this case, it was actually the previous day that set the clue. So previous day, it came up to the top of that range, failed, and broke back down. So then the key pivot for this to continue into a descending range was right around the 409 mark, but the break happened a little sooner. It happened to go to the previous day's high, and then it broke through it, and that was actually at about 410.50.
Wait. Which day are we looking at here? We're looking at this is just the other day, right?
We're looking at the 4th.
Okay. Yeah, so you're basically thinking about no.
So the
go.
opening range of that day, like if you were looking at this to be a pullback and then continuing to be bullish up to, run up to 415, the argument was it would bounce off that liquidity zone, which it went right to about 410.50, which was the previous day's high test. Well,
Yeah.
previous day's median test, sorry.
Yep.
And it bounced out. Well, then it rejected right just above the opening range high. I mean, it went to like what 412, 01 or 04 or something like that, and it broke back down. Once that 15-minute bar from 10:30 started to break that previous low of 410.50, it was game on. That trend was ready to go. of bear
Yep.
trend.
Yep.
And it worked
Yep.
out methodically. I mean, it followed all the way through to the exact bottom of that range down to like 407.25.
Yep. Oh, look at that! It did, huh? I remember that this is the one we had marked out.
Yep.
And we got off. Yeah.
Morning,
It
guys.
was perfect, man. And look at that! It came right out to the top of it again, also.
Yes, sir.
Wow, that played out. That played out. I forgot to check that afterwards, actually, man.
So it
That
became,
played out perfectly, huh?
yep, and it became a trend day. Now we just hit the area at the exact bottom of the upper liquidity range, 407.15.
Yeah.
It
And
peaked
you can see how that.
right to 407.25. It was the high
Yeah.
just now, and rejected.
Mm. I marked out that zone differently than you did. Well, or the ES isn't moving the same thing as what SPY is,
It's-
which is also.
It is slightly different.
Yep.
That is for sure.
But it came right up to the 200 and just wicked off the top of that.
That as well.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Good morning. So yeah, so I don't have any. I don't have any good setup at the moment like this. For me, it's like these are always the days that, like, I wouldn't. I would not have a good bias. Like I don't have a good bias at the moment to say what this is going to do now.
Right.
But for me, I'm looking at this and thinking, what do we have? We have back up to the open on above the open for NQ up to the 200 on the 5 minute, up at the 200 for the ES. What do we got on? And we're basically testing the open on the Dow also. So this would be a sit on my hands moment while I figure out what everything else, while I wait for everything to pick a direction.
Right.
To see if this is going to test. What I'd like to see, because I prefer shorting things, is I want to see everything roll over a little bit right now, and then break basically previous 5 minute candle low. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
Same.
Well, we made a 2-for-1 off that bounce.
Mm-hmm.
We got a 3-leg measured move, so a 2-for-1 move. Now we're accumulating just under the edge of the upper liquidity zone. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say if we break that 200 with some force after this, we could set up a trend day and run to the top of that liquidity zone.
Run to the top of it. Like, how do you feel? And how do you feel about going long at a moment like this? Like, you feel? I mean, well, you're doing with options, so you don't.
Right.
You have a condor on for this right now, so you don't really.
I'm actually neutral already, so like
Yeah.
whatever side it breaks to, I can go and convert those. Like if it runs to 411, I could probably sell a credit spread against my debit spread for probably close to 3 times what I've risked on the debit spread long.
Yeah.
If it breaks down to the bottom of the lower range with my put debit spread, I could go and sell. Let's see, if price hits like 403.70, I could sell the put debit spread against my long put debit spread about the same. So I mean, all I need is a break of this range and a run through one side or the other side of that liquidity zone, and I've locked in a profit that I cannot lose on the whole position.
Jeremy, are you in a strangle?
So I'm in a condor, which is similar to a strangle, but a lot less risk.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the legs are farther out, right? Or is there? Do you have an? Are there 4 legs in a condor, or is it just 2?
Technically 4, so there's four contracts. There's 2 on each side.
Yeah.
So you have a long call and a long put, and a long put, or sorry, a long put, short put, and a long call, short call.
I'm happy you stumbled on that just now, Jeremy, because it makes me feel less dumb. But I hear you. So there's a short call and a short put, and a long call and a long put. Is that right?
Yep.
Is that not right? Yep. Okay.
And you enter in one leg at a time. So like I use that little consolidation across the top of the lower liquidity zone, kind of build a little bit in there. So right now the position as a whole hasn't made or
Mhm.
lost anything. But if it breaks to one side or the other side of those liquidity zones, I'll definitely be able to lock in profit on one side or the other. And I have a chance of, if it returns to this scenario on Monday, I've got enough time in those contracts to where I could possibly convert and lock the other side.
Yeah. But one thing I don't understand about this is, so if this does end up being a range day,
Mhm.
which was basically what we were saying in the morning, right? Then you break even,
Yep,
right? Is that?
exactly.
Yep. Okay.
So I'm
So,
because
but
I'm
like,
neutral, I'm gonna end up breaking even in spite of some implied volatility crush, which is fine. Um, the other thing I can do is I can also average later. So like if implied volatility crush drops me by like more than 10% of my initial risk,
mhm.
I can go and add an equal amount of spreads to each side one at a time,
Yep.
and thus I can average those costs down a little bit, and I'm still neutral. And if it stays in
Yep.
range on Monday and doesn't really go anywhere, I'm still going to break even.
Yep. Oh, so when's the expiration on the contracts that you got
Uh,
today?
April
Is it
April
week out or
13th,
is it April 13th? Okay. So what is that? That's a week out. Yep.
more or less.
Yep.
So, I mean, tomorrow's market's closed, so this is going to have a lot of time in the weekend to be destroyed for value, but it's still got a pretty good chance of breaking even on Monday. Monday, I have to decide what to do with this. So if it stays in range on Monday,
Yeah.
I'm going to close this position. I'll leg out of it. Um,
Oh, does theta? Theta is your time decay, right?
right, and it
Does
does
that
it does have an effect on it,
that happens?
but you got to remember,
That happens over the weekend also.
yeah, it does. I mean, it does count
Ah.
time, and the time stops, but it does, take it closer to expiration date. So it's like you'll see your theta. Let's say it's like 0.01, which equates to
Mhm.
about $1 a day. Um,
Mhm.
you'll look at the weekend doesn't necessarily count on the time, but
Mhm.
if you look at the open on Monday, all of a sudden the theta will jump. So it's like
Yep.
kind of weird. It doesn't count, but it seems to.
It counts.
Yeah.
It counts. Yeah. So we got that rollover a little bit. I wouldn't be, and we broke underneath the 5 minute candle, but this is the same thing as we were doing before. This could just flag now
Right.
and turn and rip to the upside. So for me, what I want to see is I want a little bit of a higher, like I want more of something. We still have the Russell above the 200. Well, everything else is underneath, but this is just. I want to see more weakness before I short this thing.
Right.
Maybe this is another one of those situations where it would have been easy short off the 200 on the ES, but I don't know. In a probability sense or like statistics, I don't think that's a good. I don't think that's a high statistic trade actually.
Yeah, it's
High
kind
probability
of
trade.
likely to stay in that range, at least for now.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be one of these days, isn't it?
Kind of looking like a range day for now, but like I said, it can range here, accumulate. All ranges do break, and when it breaks,
Yeah.
it can be today, it can be Monday.
That's weird. I have U.S. jobless claims at 2:30, but it's not up my. It's not updating.
Hmm.
Did jobless claims come out already? They did,
I thought
right?
that was yesterday, wasn't it? I don't know.
Oh, maybe it's not updating from yesterday. That's what
I
it
never
is.
pay attention to that stuff as much as I
Yeah.
should.
No, man, it's not. I don't think. I like it. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah,
no, it has it as today.
I should pay more attention to that stuff. I really should, but I,
Well, it's for me. It's just the thing is I hate it when I'm if I like looking at that just to know that like okay 2:30. If I'm in a trade, I might want to get out of it before 2:30. You know what I mean? I'm not looking at it like I'm not analyzing the numbers so much as just like thinking to myself, okay, I know something's coming out now which could like crush me in whatever position I'm in. It's going to move it 100 points in 5 minutes and just wipe something out.
right,
But
we're breaking over.
yeah. So we got the yeah, that was perfect. So this is That's pretty much what it was. That's what we were looking for.
Yeah, I sculpted that.
Nice work.
Nice one. Yeah, it's a massive. Look at the candle on the Russell, man. That's like we're trying to flush it. What time is it? We have so jobless claims is today,
It is
Uh,
okay.
and it's coming out. It's coming out in 7 minutes.
Ah,
So if you are in a trade right now, getting out for jobless claims could be a good idea because it's going to move in one direction or another.
Good to know. Thank you.
that's why I'm glad I'm neutral.
Yeah.
I'm in a position, and all it needs to do is move one way or the other, and I can make profit.
Yeah, and actually, what we're doing, if you look at the NQ now, we're just back to the high of the open and testing it again. So this would be a great place to bounce also.
Kind of a
And s-
thing I need to put in my book is a chapter based on the neutral position play. There's a
Mhm.
lot of moving parts to that when you think about it too much, but you don't have to think about it too much. It can be simplified.
yeah,
You know, you're literally just
I think a lot. I think that's something that would help people a lot.
yeah.
You know, because being able to be directionally neutral is a pretty awesome way to do it.
Trading from neutral is an art. It really is. And then
Yeah.
you know there was something I experimented with that was very successful. Um,
Mhm.
not necessarily trading from a neutral position, but trading from a self-hedged position that I could use to generate income. That was that Amazon play where I sold that put credit spread deep in the money on a day of high implied volatility because it was I think it was a FOMC day. Um,
Mhm.
I opened a $5 wide deep in the money put credit spread on Amazon um, for 2 cents risk. So like whole
Mhm.
$5 wide, I risked $2 in that position per spread. I ended up
Yeah.
getting a sign on the short legs, and I was given the option because I had the liquidity in my account to absorb 100 shares of Amazon in that position. Um,
Mhm.
I was able to make the decision: do I want to exercise my long position to neutralize this thing and take a $2 loss, or do I want to take
Mhm.
assignment on the shares and continue to hold the deep in the money long put? And I decided to
Mhm.
keep the deep in the money long put because it was trading pretty close to intrinsic. Intrinsic is at share value. So um, effectively, my cost basis of assignment on that short put was actually a couple dollars less than what the share price was on the day trading that I sold it. Also, the long side, my break even on that I paid in premium for that was covered by letting that short put get exercised. So my risk was still just $2, and I have essentially a free long put on that and 100 shares long that I could sell covered calls on, which I did. So
Oh.
over the time I had that position on, I was able to earn about 82% of my initial risk on the long shares in about a 7-week period. So
Mhm.
pretty damn good return on investment. And then I was able to take the position apart by selling to close the long put and then selling the shares off accordingly.
That's awesome, dude.
Worked out pretty good.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think I followed 75% of what you just.
So it's
I got most of it.
it's essentially the long shares and the long deep in the money put neutralized any price action. So like if share price went up, the value of my shares or the appreciation of the share price in my possession
Mhm.
would go up accordingly, but the put
Mhm.
value would go down intrinsically. So
Yeah.
they would balance each other. So it's a neutral position. It's self-hedged. It can't make me money. It can't lose me money. It just sort of hangs in limbo there. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
I have 100 shares long that I can sell covered calls on, and I did so. So I was able to.
Wait, selling. So you're selling covered calls, which is you expected price to go. You're selling calls. That's a bearish. That's you're expecting the price to go down at that point, right?
Technically, covered calls don't have to be a bearish position. Covered calls would be out of the money enough to where you're fairly confident they're likely to either expire worthless, or if share price were to come down, you could then buy those contracts to close them for much less than you sold them for, and you pocket the difference.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It's like short selling, but
That-
without having the unlimited risk.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yes.
I mean, that's something I don't understand is that why you can't always sell. If you're just selling options, why can't you can constant and people are so willing to buy options that are so far outside the money,
Yeah.
which are just like statistically like that's not going to happen. But people will buy them anyway. You know, why you couldn't just like make a living off of just selling. What is it called?
You're just selling premium.
Yeah, just selling premium, basically. You know what I mean? Why? That's kind of something that I was interested in, but that I never dug down
That's
into.
the whole
I
basis
guess-
of the wheel trade right there. This is just this one I just explained is just a different way to do it. It
Yeah.
achieves the same goal of generating income on a long position. Only this one was self-hedged. So if Amazon went to $2 a share overnight, I was still not going to take a loss on that. I was still going to break even
Yeah,
and make some money on
Yeah.
the covered calls. So
which is awesome.
it was kind of fun because the timing on that could not have been better. Right before and Amazon announced earnings after hours. On the day of earnings announcement, I was able to sell a covered call that expired the following Friday.
Hmm.
It was $22 out of the money, and I was able to sell it for $190 for that contract. The next day after earnings announcement was hit, and there's no way in hell that even if Amazon went up that high, it was very unlikely that I was going to get a sign on that covered call. The next day, I bought that contract back for 8 cents or $8.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's
So I
that's the way
made
to do it.
$182 on a contract short overnight.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's it really is awesome, dude.
And
It's such a more relaxed way to do it. You don't. I mean, I can understand why you don't get like the whole, like every time you take a trade, your heart's not in your throat kind of thing. You know, because you actually don't have to stress that much. I mean, those trades
it's
are pretty
relaxing.
low. Yeah, it's relaxing. You can just kind of go. I'm gonna see what happens now. I'm gonna make money either way.
Yeah, it takes
Yeah.
it takes the anxiety out of the trade completely, man. I mean, it is incredible how you can get to that state of mind with options that you just can't really do with anything else in the market. It's just
Yeah.
zero stress. All you need
Yeah.
to do is know the basics of options function to do this too. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. I really, yeah, I'm looking forward to digging down into it more.
It's a lot of fun.
So this, we're at kind of like an interesting moment right now. There's everything is like kind of showing opposite directions at the moment. We have Russell with some weakness back into this channel. Dow still beneath the open high, basic bearish. Indecision in the Russell, and the NQ is always trying to push up higher. So for the last few days, what's been happening is that the Russell tries to push, and then it fails. So I'd be looking for more weakness in everything else right now. But I mean, this could go either way right now, so it's not. I would wait for some kind of signal. We have accumulation. While we have them up, why don't we talk about them? We have the 200 and the 9 up on the ES, and we see accumulation building up right between the two. That's also called something I can't remember the name of, but that usually infers that there's going to be a dramatic move out of that because it doesn't want to stay, ES doesn't want to stay, caught between two moving averages like that. It wants to go one direction or the other.
Right.
At the moment, we really don't know what direction it's going to go in, though. But we see there's definitely weakness in these two. So what I'd be wanting to see is knowing over the last few days how this has been playing out is that everything else goes weak, and then the NASDAQ is still a little bit strong, and then it goes weak also. So I'd be looking at this, wanting to see continued weakness in the three other indices, and then looking for a short position in the Nasdaq. But until it plays out well, which basically means playing out well means you might not get all three, but it would be Russell breaking out of the channel, ES breaking beneath the moving average there, and we also have, I think that's probably the open line that we have there also, so breaking below that, and then weakness in the Dow also, which means putting in a new low basically. And you can see this is basically how it's playing out now. We have three weakness in these three, Nasdaq still green. And then we want to see last four days, what's been happening is that these three being weak signals that weakness will roll over into the Nasdaq. That hasn't, for the month before that wasn't true. The Nasdaq would pull everything else with it. And it could very well switch today also. But that's not how it's been working out. Let's wait to see how it goes.
Very choppy.
Yeah. As long as the Russell's in this channel, it's kind of like, I don't think there's any really good direction. Dow coming back up on the, that is the opening high, right?
A lot of European markets are closed through Tuesday, or until Tuesday, huh?
No, Monday is Monday's also a holiday, right? Ananda Polsk. So in Europe, we celebrate Easter as 2 days.
Okay.
So it's same thing with Christmas. In Sweden, it's with Christmas also. So we have like the first day of Christmas, and then we have the second day of Christmas. So it's the same thing with Easter. We have the first day of Easter, and then we have the second day of Easter.
Yeah, like you get Boxing Day in Sweden.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we don't celebrate Christmas on the 25th. We celebrate on the 24th. So we have 6 days, 3 days actually.
So you guys are Spanish then?
What's that?
So you guys are Spanish then? That's how we celebrate.
We're Spanish. Ah, cool. I'm born in Spain. But
Nice.
yeah.
I think it's the Catholic side of things. They all celebrated on the 24th, so it's only the Brits that celebrated on the 25th.
We celebrate.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
It's Protestant and Catholic, isn't it? That's how they ended up getting separated, because the Catholics celebrate Mass on the 24th, and the Protestants celebrate Christmas Day as the birth of Christ. So it's because the religion split down Protestants and Catholic. Sorry about that. That was our fault.
No.
That's correct.
Nothing to apologize for.
Well, yeah, it was our king that did it a couple of 100 years ago. Really sorry about that, guys. Not everyone's holiday, you know.
I just call it Good Friday, where we're not supposed to eat meat, but that's like my favorite barbecue day.
Yeah. It's a fish day, right? We're supposed to all have fish. on
Something like
Fridays,
that, yeah.
Me
I
too.
don't-
I love
I'm
meat.
gonna smoke some ribs tomorrow. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh, that sounds good. I want some ribs, man. Mail them to Sweden.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Still waiting for this. This isn't really like the Russell breaking out of the channel, so I would definitely be hands off right now. This is just chop, dude. I hate chop.
Yeah, this is no man's land. And it's kind of like, if you think of the two liquidity zones, it's like you got two entrenched sets of troops, and the land between, no one wants to be there. So,
No.
no man's land.
Yeah. Oh man, it's gotta play out though.
Yeah, eventually like I said, every time you get a range day, it just accumulates for a bigger breakout when the range breaks. And that's the whole point. Like, so we could almost expect a fairly flat day on Monday and maybe a very volatile day on Tuesday, because European markets will be closed on Monday. So this could be kind of what the expectation is. Like, since our market is open on Monday, we do have some news coming out tomorrow, and there's some stuff going on a weekend that might affect the market on Monday. It may give you a quick trend day on Monday. It may not.
Yep.
But Tuesday, we can almost certainly expect some sort of volatility, whether it's just a quick volatile range or whatever it may be. I think Tuesday will be a fairly market day on all markets. So
Next candle is this is basically what we're looking for, right? So Russell's coming down to test the bottom of this channel now. Dow doing this. So if it and the weakness is also Nasdaq failed to make a new high or to break through this second try. So it's looking like we're at least going to get some kind of like little pullback for a little bit here anyway.
SPX is looking bearish AF.
Yep.
Give it a moment, though. I can close a wick.
Yep.
2, 1 second. Bam. Hammer
Let's switch
closed.
to the lower time. Oh, did it? Oh, it did. Look at that. All right. Hammer on the Nasdaq also, but I still think this is. We have we have Russell putting in a new low. Didn't came up, tested that top of the channel, failed that. Testing the bottom of the channel now. What we really wanted was to look at this. This is the channel that we had set up from earlier, and it actually put up a hammer on the bottom of that channel that we had from a few days ago. Same channel from the open. That was the. I can't remember if that was the top or the bottom. That was the bottom of it. I still think it rolls.
Damn, what happened to Google?
Mm,
Oh, right to resistance. Cool. If that tips over, we can see the rest of the market follow. There's a daily double top on Google right there.
the news just came out, whatever that was. I just wanted to see. Google is Google's. Oh well, it's performing actually well. Russell broke out of the bot. No, it hasn't. This is our channel. I should color these differently.
Still kind of a lifeless range day so far.
Yep. But you can, I mean, scalping these quick little movements like this isn't necessarily. I mean, you can do it in the. Let's
Oh, that's
switch
just
down to an even lower time.
great day to trade futures.
Yep. You can see on the this failed, making a higher high on Nasdaq. Coincided perfectly with the Dow coming up and testing the bottom of the 200 and failing that. And the same thing with the Russell. So we came up to the 200 and we failed it, which is so for a short-term play, would have been a pretty good inclination. We also had a shooting star. Is this called a shooting star again? Yeah. On the top of a tiny little
Yeah,
high.
more or less.
Yeah. Well, yeah. A little bit too much of a wick there. It's a little micro play. Came back to the bottom of the channel again, and the Russell coming up, retesting to try to get back into it. If it fails that, you might get another leg down.
Morning, guys.
There we go. Good morning. Same thing again. Weakness in in Russell and the Dow. Yeah.
I took a short
Let's see
on
what happens.
ES. I'm waiting for that 4106 to break.
Yep. Let's see how this one plays out. I think this is a little bit of a risky. Russell could do a double bottom here off this previous low from the 15-minute range.
Break, baby, break.
Yeah, let's hope it breaks over. ES breaking down, perfect.
Where do you guys see the
There
next
you go.
bounce for ES?
Next bounce for the ES, probably
Like
maybe off this consolidation zone here.
101?
What do you think, Jeremy?
Well, I can tell you where
I would
SPY
say-
is. I'm looking at SPY for 406 even. As far as
Yeah.
Let's see, SPX, I'm looking at 40.75. So I don't know if SPX and the ES are close, but
Yeah, they're not close now. It's off, man. I could put up the ES. I could put up SPY someplace, or the SPX or whatever. But I would look at this as kind of a risky moment because we have a chance for a multiple bottom on the Russell. Same thing on the Dow.
I need to hurry up and get back into futures.
Yeah,
That's the bottom line.
I think you do, man. Come on, dude. Join in the party, man.
So you need to, Jeremy.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
It's
There
so
we go.
it's so hard to follow SPY and the ES when you're trying to trade the ES.
Yeah. Well, it's just because they're off right now. Normally, we could just take away a zero and it wouldn't, or add a zero or whatever.
I can still
But-
get my signals on SPY though, man.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Well, SIG posted they were actually pretty divergent the other day, huh? Or SPX and, I don't know if he posted SPX as SPY or if he posted what it was. So we have, let's see what the ES does in this little micro zone here, if it breaks through that, which we expect it will. Everything else is bearish, still bearish. Dow right back to the zone, top of that channel that we had set out from earlier, which could be a possible little bounce point. And the ES right back to that little liquidity zone that we had from earlier. We're getting a little bounce there also. So what should happen? What's on?
I was gonna say I was gonna wait till 101, but then I got a little scared about around 350, so I got out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always good to play it safe.
Good play. There's a bounce here.
Yep.
Jeremy, the 5-second chart is awesome, man. Oh my god, it's so easy to pick up double bottoms and reversals.
Gave you the
Mhm.
exact signal when that was going to bounce right there.
Yeah.
That is the most useful tool I've found yet.
What, the 5-second chart or which one?
The 5-second chart.
Yeah. Nice.
The signals on it are just plain as day.
Yeah. But I got mine on 30-second. Let's switch it down to the 5-second. Let's get a little bit stressed out. Let's stress ourselves out with a 5-second.
Little double bottom, doji on the 8 period.
Yeah.
Bam, it went right to R1. Right afterwards,
Yeah.
smacked above the 20 period. 8 period cross of 20, continued bullish, went to target 1, target 2. Bam, we're topping out here.
Yeah. Yeah. And right back to the, you see how this was actually really clean. Came right back up to this previous low here.
Yep.
Tested that, failed a little bit. Tried to break out of it again. Normal trade would be to trade the low here as a short. Oh, but nasty.
Well, what it did there is it printed that red hammer right on R1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Booted a bar right through the 8 period and the 20 period. Now
This is why I don't like the 5-second, dude. I can't.
hard to
I
pick
would-
though.
I'm
Yeah.
about to short that too.
I wouldn't short that yet. Wait for the break.
No.
We're
Yeah.
going to continue all the way to 200 here.
Yeah. On the 5-second, I can't do it.
Yes,
man.
I think you
get
just
off
gotta
this
try a few times. You'll see the pattern.
Yeah, I just don't like it.
It'll come to you with practice, man.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Just train your lizard brain.
Yeah. Oh, we have a Fed speaker in 14 minutes also.
Hey, Cass, why not the 10-second? I do the 10-second, and it's not that.
That's
Yeah, I
fine,
mean-
too.
Yeah, I mean anything is fine. It's not that. It's just, I mean, you know, we always say this, but it really is whatever you feel comfortable with. You know what I mean? And just for me, you know, in the end, whatever chart you're looking at, it's the exact same thing. I mean, this is every single bar, every control bar is a trend, and every anything with a wick is basically a range. You know, so we know basically what the lower time frame charts look like looking at this, you know, but it just I feel a lot more comfortable.
And target.
Yeah,
On the ES chart, if you pull up the 5 seconds, you can clearly see that this was gonna reverse because
Yep.
it actually made a double bottom. And it
Yeah.
didn't make a new. It didn't make it a break a new low. See that at 10:43.25.
10:43, 25. Yeah.
I see it.
Well, we went lower than that actually. Just a little bit.
Got a perfect measured move on that chart to the 200 period on the 5 second there. Now we're likely to break
5 sec-
over because if you verify that with the 1 minute chart, we made a bearish measured move and hit the 50% retracement right now.
Yep. And you can see the Russell back up at the top of the channel,
It's hovering.
which is a good reversal point. Dow actually broke through, so we have a pretty clear signal. If we get for a bearish signal, it would be ES coming back below the 200.
We're accumulating on top of the 5 second 200 here. Let this break before you go long or short.
Yeah. What I was looking at is signal for short, not
Right.
not going short now.
Because it could give you a 2-for-1
Yeah.
and go for 100% retracement on a 1 minute bearish measured move back to bullish measured move. So we're starting
Yeah.
to break over now. We're good. But it was just a point to be cautious and wait for the break.
Oh yeah. And I still think this looks like it's there we go.
You never want to be caught off
Yeah.
sides.
But look at this. We have the Russell breaking through the top of that channel, which was coming out of earlier. So this is actually, we want that to fail. Nope.
We started to break, didn't quite follow through. Now we're getting above
No.
resistance. Wait for a test.
But the Dow did a double top, failed to break out again. So
yeah.
I'm still waiting for everything to get beneath the 200.
Got 30 seconds left on, or 20 seconds left on this 1 minute candle. And it may give us a quick bullish measure move up to 406.92.
No. Oh, here we go, dude. This is what we wanted. But we need something to close.
Boom, there's a break.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I was out of that one.
Yeah.
That was fast, man. It's like,
Yeah.
nope, it's looking weak, but it was just sitting there. It was threatening to break to that 406.92.
That was fast, though, man. That was 10 minutes to 5. And we do have the Fed speaker in 10 minutes, so
Yeah. It's almost time
It's,
for hand fitting.
yeah. Bullard is talking in Bullard's talking in 10.
Condor's kind of treading water right now. I'm just waiting for one side or the other. I don't care which way.
Oh, I see what this is. You know what? I think no, I don't get it, man. My news thing is off. Whatever the time frame is on us. So let me check when Bullard's actually speaking. Fed Bullard.
There we go. We're getting a 1-for-1 out of this. Target will be 406.25. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Bullard speaks in
I think the
in
time
9 minutes.
crossed because he's been talking already.
Oh, he's already been talking? There's something going on with my okay, sorry.
Let me see here.
There's something going on with my computer. What is he saying?
I'm trying to pull it up here. I'm kind of having trouble
Sorry
getting
for
news
that, guys.
updates too.
Fed Bullard downplays concern over financial stresses to the banking system.
Sorry, what was
Negatively
that
impressed him when he says
there?
Bullard's saying that we don't need to worry about the stress to the financial system. The rule is like this: if anybody from the Fed says don't be worried,
Yeah, be worried.
take all your money out of the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry about.
There's nothing to see. There's nothing to see here, you guys. Look over here instead. No.
No, most
Uh,
of my stuff stays in the trading account where I can use it to trade the banks.
yeah. And then 3 days ago, Billard said, this higher price in oil is going to make the Fed's job of controlling inflation more difficult. So there's always that.
Well, yeah, that's why they did it.
Yeah, and Billard's saying that they need they need rates above 5%. That was a few days ago, though.
And we
And
we got this big saber rattling event here against against us. Basically, they're attempting to break away from the U.S. dollar as a base currency. Well, we've seen what happened before. The only difference is this time they could actually have a chance at it, but I think that policy changes, if they're quick enough, we'll be able
Yeah.
to nip it in the bud, so to speak, before it
There's
tends
a
to.
lot of countries involved.
Yeah, and the thing
Yeah.
is,
well,
it's a majority chunk of the global economy, so that's the concerning part.
well, you know what I think the play is? I think they wait to make the serious move until the election,
Right.
because the only way to combat them doing that would be to raise rates pretty high in the States. Because if rates are high in the States, it'll raise the amount that you get if you keep the dollar as a reserve currency. So to strengthen the dollar, right? But during an election year, that nobody's going to argue for raising the rates.
That's the other side of it, but then the thing to know, the simplicity of it all, is to realize that that's going to be a campaign base more than anything.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to campaign on that. That's the old adage of one side is to say never waste a crisis.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if anybody can campaign on raising interest rates to strengthen the dollar, because it's not it's nothing that it doesn't affect anybody's. It affects people's grandkids. You know what I mean? More than it's going to affect how much money they still have in their wallets, kind of thing.
You've got to imagine both sides of the argument here. If U.S. currency is debased, and we've been printing so much money for the past since the lockdown and all that stuff, got so much incredible debt that's been stacked on. If this does hinge on the other side, what does that do to us? Well, that puts us in a situation where we got to have a wheelbarrow full of cash to go and buy a loaf of bread. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's hyperinflation begins to take its effect, and that's where I can see, there's going to be a campaign base of let's fight hyperinflation, blah blah blah. One side, the other side will basically say, hell with it, let's crash the currency and start over with a new one.
Yeah.
That usually leads to war at some point
Yeah.
as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We got a
Whole
repeat
premise.
of the Second World War, basically.
And we've gotten away with a lot of pointless wars on this side of the pond, and we've basically accumulated a bunch of debt doing so. Most countries that have accumulated massive amounts of debt to fight a pointless war, effectively their currency failed, and they debased it so much where it crashed. Well, when the U.S. decided to take sanctions against Russia and cripple the ruble, it debased it. And what they do? They went and switched to the gold standard, and suddenly it's right back where it was. Exactly.
Yeah.
Ruble for ruble, it's the same now. It had zero effect, but what did it do to us? It put us in a S-ton of extra debt doing this whole thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we hurt ourselves in putting those sanctions on Russia, unfortunately. But
That's a question. You wonder, going back to the gold standard, if is that even like a feasible thing? Could the state switch back to the gold standard,
I don't
or like some kind of?
think
Not
there's
now.
enough gold in existence to do it.
There's not, right? That's the thing.
No.
I heard
It
Japan.
was, it was a finite resource, and it got taken off that resource to expand the currency, and you can't
Yeah,
put the genie
yeah.
back in the bottle because there's not
No.
the original resource.
That's it.
Yeah, there's not enough. Yeah.
I heard
There's a-
Well, if Elon Musk finds some gold in space,
That's
maybe we can.
that's the
Yeah.
one thing that I I bring to attention is that's a very looming fact.
I keep
Yeah.
saying this. I keep telling because I've got loads of friends. Oh, technology is going to save us. We're going to fight. That's why we need to go into space. It's a lovely thought, but it wouldn't solve our problems, even
No.
if we did find gold in space, because we would
No.
just continue the process again because we haven't learned our lessons.
Yeah.
Then you debase gold.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
debase the other planet. Oh, no, the point is, if we can't learn our lessons on this planet, we're just going to export our problems to the next planet, kind of like we've done with
Yeah.
countries.
Of course.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's
I think this looks like
one big
look at that.
cluster.
one.
I'll leave the other word out.
That was a big, nasty candle, huh?
Yes,
That
sir.
was Bullard saying something. We didn't manage to make a new low on that candle,
is,
but we managed to
guys,
make a new low.
If you do get hyperinflation and it's going to affect the West, right? What is it worth? You're going to want to be in hard assets, commodities, and things like that. So
Yep,
is that a good time where you start levering into commodity stocks using
Durable
options?
goods will
Yeah,
always
yeah,
conquer
exactly.
inflation.
Durable goods,
Yeah.
the stuff like that. But I know it's not popular, but oil, natural gas, coal, because if we're going to go through a destabilization period in the West, commodities are going to go through the roof. Am I right in thinking?
Absolutely.
So would this be a good time to practice your options on commodities because you think, well, if I end up holding them, then great, I don't mind being assigned.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, you wouldn't do that with options, though, would you? I mean, you'd actually be
Well,
looking to buy.
No.
I've got money to invest into something, into stock,
Right.
right?
So-
and again, like you said, Johnson and Johnson, durable goods, stuff like that. I want to, buy and hold. But I'm thinking if I use options to get into those stocks,
right.
so that, as we were discussing before. So
You've got
again, Johnson and Johnson, lever in. If I get assigned, then great. If I end up having to get premium on them, then fantastic. So you win either way, and that's what I
Right.
need to practice.
So this is that thing we were talking about the other day, where instead of just up and buying shares to get into a position, you can sell a put.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That lowers your cost basis on that entry altogether. You're getting paid to wait for the market to come to you. And if you're not assigned, you just sell another put. Keep doing it until
Yeah.
you're assigned.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm going to try and do is once I've got I wouldn't do this using TraderBait because that's something I was going to ask you the other day, Jeremy, was what do you use for options? Is it going to be one of these American accounts I can't get hold of? Or
So currently for all of my bigger options positions, I'll use my Robinhood account because there's 0 commissions.
it is Robinhood, right? We can't
I'm-
get in Europe, and we can't.
I'm working to
Tasty
change
trades you can
that
get, though.
because I'm going to go and do something similar with the TOS account. So that's why I'm even going to build a TOS account because I'm going to trade it very similar to the way a hedge fund would be traded. I would be mostly selling options in that thing.
Yeah, we don't have that option at the moment in Europe. Although I know Charles Schwab is planning on bringing TOS to the Charles Schwab side of brokerage account, but I need to investigate that further. I know a lot of people are waiting for that in Europe and Australia and Canada and places.
Yeah. You can get Tasty Trades, though.
Yeah.
Tasty Trades lets you open.
Yeah,
an
I've
account,
got Tastyworks. You
Yeah.
mean
Tasty Works, yeah.
Tastyworks? Yeah, I've got that.
You can certainly sell options in that.
Is that a good one as well? Is it because I've still got
yes.
I've still got a load of penny stock on my Tasty Trades, just ticking over, making like two pennies a day. So yeah,
I think it's actually the best. I think it's actually the best platform. I'm still
Yeah.
learning. I'm still like I'm just like slowly working my way into it.
For you
Well-
guys, that'll
But it's-
probably
I
be the
thi-
best platform.
yeah, I quite like
Yeah.
Tastyworks. It's got a lovely interface to it, and it really explains your option position nicely. So when you get the when it shows you the trade setup, and I can't. What are those graphs called? What the trade graphs, the options graphs?
There's a word for it.
Oh, anyway, you know what I mean. The options
Yeah.
trades when it lays those out.
Chain.
Yeah.
Options chain.
It's really easy to understand in Tastyworks, much easier than Think or Swim. I'll give it that.
It gives you the risk, the initial risk, and There's a word for it. I'm lost. Hold on a second. So like, let me see here. So
It looks like Bullard said something that was good that everyone liked. We kind of missed this one. We could go to a higher time frame. 1 minute. We came down, accumulated off the open, and then we now took off of it. Risk being that we have angular resistance, which we just tapped on the ES, or tapping. Let's see what that looks like. And we have possible double top on the Dow, but we broke out from above the open there also, and we're on top of a top of the channel again. So this is again one of these moments that you could weakness in the 3, short the NQ, high risk play.
all right.
Unless we get, no, that's not going to work out. Right to the top of the 200. Jeremy, what do you think about this one, man? I think this looks like, I mean,
We're right.
it's a lot of strength going on right now, but I'm still thinking like,
We're rightly set up
I'm
for
always-
a bullish 1-for-1 on the 1 minute chart. But look at the 5-second chart. We've already made a 1-for-1. Now we're accumulating. We could get
yeah,
a finishing touch to that or a pullback. I think we're more likely to have a pullback here.
yeah,
Becoming quite the doji party on the 1 minute chart.
yeah.
Sprinted 2 spinners.
Breaking out on this one, I still think it's a short. I think we suck back into this. For some reason, I don't trust my
We might get
coming right
1-for-1.
back on the angular resistance on the ES there.
There it is. 1-for-1 done.
All done. High risk, low. What's it called? When you're not completely convinced. Begins with a C.
Contigo.
No. I don't know. Yeah, but that looks like it might be
Yeah,
that anyway.
It's been a long week for trading this kind of price action. My brain's kind of today.
Yeah.
I mean, it was my birthday yesterday. I didn't go out and get trash or anything. I had a beer or two and had
Yeah.
a good time, but that's not affecting me. I don't think. I think more than anything, I'm just fatigued this week.
Man, they say one beer actually screws up your cognitive
Yeah.
functioning for 3 days. Which is, I mean, I'm not, I used to love to drink. I quit
Well, I mean,
when I had kids.
I
But,
I
no.
enjoy like a beer after dinner on average about 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And doesn't seem to have any effect on my cognitive skills one way or the other.
Well, I think I had, in the last year, I think I had like 4 glasses of wine. I think that's pretty much mine. That was my,
That is-
and it's not like,
I-
I'm not drinking like, I haven't told myself like I'm not allowed to or something like
Right.
this. I just don't put myself in those situations. Ooh,
I kind of
Now we
learned
got
to
everything going
regulate
bullish.
myself at a young age, so
yeah.
I don't have any sort of need to go out and party and get buzzed or anything like that. I just enjoy a cold beer after a long hard day working, or a cold beer after a day of working my brain out, so to speak, after a meal. It's just a finishing touch sometimes.
That's never how I wanted to drink. I always wanted a happy day drinking for me was ending up at like 8 in the morning, going down the street with a trumpet and a bottle of booze in one hand. You know,
Oh, yeah.
trumpet in one hand, a bottle of booze in the other, and ending up some crazy place that I didn't know how I got there.
But
That was
drinking in Europe and drinking in North America are 2 different things for me.
Yep,
yeah.
that's for sure.
Very dare you, but it's absolutely true.
I gotta get going, guys. You guys have all the best in the market, and see you Tuesday.
See you Tuesday, man.
Yes.
See you later, man.
Have a good
You know that-
weekend.
You
lends
go.
to
You too.
that lends to an experience.
Happy Easter. Yeah.
I was in San Francisco on business.
Mhm.
I just turned 22, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And beforehand, I used to be able to handle my liquor, and in house parties and stuff. But I would always be the guy to regulate because I would always make sure my friends got home okay. So
Mhm.
if it was a party at my house, I could afford. Okay, I can get a little buzzed here. Long story short, I was at the when I was on business in San Francisco. I spent a lot of time in the pub at TGI Fridays on Bay Street and Hyde in San Francisco,
Mhm.
and you
Mhm.
run into a lot of different travelers there. And there were these two British gentlemen at the bar, and it became a contest to see who could drink the other party under the table between the two groups. My friends that were with me, and of course these two. And they produced this drink they called the Wobbler,
You can already hear it on the name of it.
and it was
You're like, oh no.
it was very similar to a Long Island iced tea, but it was mostly liquor.
The thing is, we're not
I
very
thought
good
it-
at drinking. We can't handle our liquor. We just don't know when to stop, and we keep going. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I mean, these guys held up pretty well. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think I would call it a draw. But man, we were trying to outperform each other's drinks and say, okay, how much liquor can we hide in flavor?
Oh my God, it's not the Long Island iced teas. Those will kill you.
Yeah. And then there,
In
I like the Spanish version of that one called the AMF, the Adios Mother Blanker, and
Adios.
it's
Adios
like a
Madre.
Long Island iced tea, but it's made with
Mhm.
that blue Sirocco.
Mhm.
Sirocco, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh, I know what you mean. That stuff's good.
Yeah.
I like
It's
that.
it's like triple sec, but with a blue tint to it. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's blue, and coming up with those, a couple of those, it's just the same thing as a Long Island iced tea. So yeah, they sneak up on you. But
Hmm.
at any rate,
Oh man, that's
by about that age, I really learned how to regulate myself and not do it to handle my liquor, but to do it to handle my my cognitive ability to be in control of the situation or to not
mhm.
not lose control, so to speak. So
Yeah.
I learned to regulate myself at a young age, and from then on, I really didn't get heavy into drinking. I just enjoy a beer after a meal. Sometimes I'll have a little sip of Jaeger or something, and
Mhm.
for the most part, I use that as a medicinal thing anyway, for like a sore throat or an upset stomach or something. I'll have a little sip of Jaeger and I'm fine. It's just
Yeah.
and it's enjoyable.
That's nice.
So,
Yeah. Oh no, I went through the exact opposite path, man. I can't count the nights that I've spent like out until 24 hours of nonstop drinking with friends,
yeah.
and then we end up in a different country, and we're like, oh shit,
How did I get here?
we're in a different country. How did this happen?
Why are these people
Uh,
speaking Czech?
Yeah. You come to the next day, and you're just like, oh, we made a mistake.
What did I do?
It's all shits and giggles, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I lived. So I'm born in Spain, but then I moved back to Spain when I was 26, and I basically lived in a city just full of people, and the only thing that anybody wanted to do was drink. So it was kind of insane, but it was like tons and tons of foreigners, and every single night was like a night out because it was the only thing that you could do in this small little town. And it was like 2,000-3,000 foreigners, and we all, everybody collected at like the same 3 bars, and then just wandered around talking to each other.
Yeah.
And it was like I could only do it for, I did it for a year, and then I basically just started like I was like I need to get back to Sweden, I need to get away.
They kind of call it social drinking, but then when you use it as a way to pass the time, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're going to sit there and drink,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was nothing else. There was nothing else there. But talking about the market.
Yeah, let's get back to the
we have,
market.
let's go back to the market.
The market's drunk.
Let's, the market's drunk. It does look a bit, it looks a little bit wobbly on his legs.
Yeah, it's wobbly.
Yeah. Are we gonna get a 1-for-1 off this big move?
Might get a final push to 407.25, but
Yeah.
it should more or less stay in that range between the two liquidity zones. One more
Yeah.
time, I think, through the middle of the day, and then by the end of the day, we should have a quick break, maybe.
Yeah. But this is basically it's turning into a hammer on the daily,
Yeah. And that
which is basically what it's been all day.
hammer or doji is what we would expect here, and looking at that daily, that 8 period is right underpriced, dude. It's right there. The
Yeah.
perfect spot.
Well, we couldn't really get a doji, could we? I mean, there's no way actually for this to play out to a doji.
Well, if it stays and closes in the middle of that range, it'll be exactly a doji.
Oh, sorry, man. I was looking at. I'm looking at the NQ. I was looking at the wrong.
So
one.
we get the high, low, open,
Yeah.
close. So I mean, it's
Yep. Yep. Yeah. The ES could easily turn into a doji. Obviously.
right.
I just I was looking at the wrong one. And we have it could be perfect on the Dow also. Same thing on yeah. The Nasdaq's just being the odd one out, the odd one out, which is kind of making me wonder. But tech stocks have been like that for the last well this whole year, right? What is Nasdaq up now? It's like it's still up over 20%, right?
Something like that.
On the
I
year?
haven't looked, but yeah, somewhere around there.
Let me see. Let's switch this to percentage.
Or year to date.
Oh, I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna make it more complicated.
I can get a quick year to date. So like if I pop open,
Yeah, we're up.
QQQ and run year to date. Oops, hold on a second.
We're at 20%.
Where is it not? Let me go year to date. Damn. Yeah, about 20%.
Oh. That's which isn't just nuts, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about momentum, right? Now we're soon coming up to pre-market high, or is that the pre-market? No, it's the high from yesterday's pre-market high.
Well, we've got market
course.
participation that we're not used to here. And a lot of retail is starting to find their way back into the market after being not absent, but
Yep.
speculative for the
Yep.
past, I would say, almost 2 years now.
Don't you think it's a new? It's really a next generation also coming in right now
Right.
because it's I think a lot of people got burnt like in 2020. Well, obviously 2022, a lot of people got burnt.
Yeah.
But but there's a whole new crew coming up on the coming in now.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys! I just realized it's 5:15.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to call it. Jeremy, do you want to give what do you think for the rest of the day? You basically already said, but you want to give it the 30-second spiel for the rest of the day?
Yeah, I would say we stick in that range, somewhere between 407.25 and 406.
Yeah.
That's just based on previous analysis. That's what the logical step is for today's market.
Yeah. So basically, more chop.
More chop. Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna agree with you 100% on that one. So more chop.
Good day to scalp
But,
futures, but swing trading is going to be kind of a miss. However, there is one thing to look at right now. We can break range and start to trend, and if we do, it'll either eat through one liquidity zone or the other. Can't do both.
Well, that wouldn't happen. But that wouldn't this late in the day, though. I think that's
It's entirely possible. Look left. You got a pre-market high. What there? 408.32, I think it was. Yep.
Mhm.
Look at that trend down to what we have now on a 5-minute chart and zoom out. What's it look like? A big old double bottom. So
yeah.
there is a chance we could eat liquidity and run up all the way to 411. At
Yeah.
a mid zone right at 408.90. It kind of makes sense that if this range breaks, it can do that. But the likelihood of that is fairly low still until it breaks that bottom edge of that liquidity above 407.25.
Yeah. I wanted to check the screen might go blank again for a second. I just want to check what the ADD and all that crap is doing. Let's see. We got market participation. Let's see. Just need to scroll over my other screen. There we go. Oh yeah, man. Volume is quite high, so people are actually participation is actually pretty high today, man. It looks like yeah, this could definitely go a little bit either way right now.
There's some BTFDers in the mix here.
Oh yeah. Wait. BTFT. What is that?
Buy the freaking dip.
Oh yeah. That's the way to do it. All right, you guys. Everybody have a great Easter and a great weekend. And anybody listening on YouTube, same goes to you. And yeah,
Hey, thanks for hanging with us.
talk to you later, Jeremy.
We'll see you over on Monday, and have a wonderful weekend. Try not to party too hard for Easter, you know.
Or party extra hard if you go my way.
And eggs are not technically a durable good; they expire.
All right.